So far, we've just talked about God's plan for work. We haven't really talked about brokenness.
Yeah.
And so even the best of who I am, which is only a little bit good, would quickly fall into the brokenness of the world or my own idolatries. So sometimes that comes into grabbing opportunity for myself at the exclusion of opportunity for others.
That's right.
And I think that understanding justice as essential to how we approach our work is really important, as opposed to how much of this pie can I grab for myself and whether I deserve it or not, rationalize that I deserve it in some way. I think that's a huge conversation that business needs to have.
Well, I think business leaders have this tremendous amount of social capital, the successful business leader. And part of what they're able to do is to share this social capital by hiring people and giving opportunities to those who maybe couldn't get those opportunities in other places. You know, Jesus criticizes the Pharisees in Luke chapter 11, verse 42, where he says, you know, you tithe of your mint and your cumin and your spices, but you forgot justice and the love of God. You should have done those other things, but not forgotten those virtues, the weightier things, right? And I think in business, if he was sitting around this table, he would say, you launch great businesses, you make wonderful profit, and that's all wonderful, and that's great, but don't forget justice. Don't forget to share your social capital with others and create opportunities for others who may not have the same blessing that you have.
There is something about employment that lifts the countenance up and makes someone feel like they're fully in God's image. And that is something that a business can do. Whenever we go into a community, we've all done it as we've driven across cities or small towns where the business environment has collapsed. And what we see is infrastructure break down and despair break in. And one of the New York Times bestsellers right now, J.D. Vance's Hillbilly Elegy, is a testimony to this. The antidote to that is entrepreneurs and business leaders caring enough about the Imago Dei in people to build businesses that eventually build great cities.
I just wanted to comment on entrepreneurship in particular in this area is a leveler. I mean, it's a leveler if you have stock options and you're spreading the profits broadly around the company. It's a leveler as a meritocracy. Now, I'm not saying meritocracy is biblical at all, but it gives tons of people a chance to contribute that would not have been there based on their family status or the privilege of the institution they went to. It's just how good they are at contributing to the goal.
I see business as a work of justice. When we talk about economic justice, it has to extend beyond the protest, the public protest. We again have to add action to our proclamation. And what business leaders do is they create the jobs that bring equality. And I love what you said earlier of how business is a great leveler, right? So we get a chance to be in an environment where our gifts, our talents, our creativities, our smarts are put on display, and we can prove our self-worth. And so I've always seen business as a work of justice and as a way for us to love our neighbors as we love ourselves, this fulfilling of the second great commandment. What's in vogue right now in church planting is to go into hard-hit, inner-city, economically depressed communities and to bring the gospel there. And I love that that's in vogue. But I would say, as someone who's spent a lifetime in that context, don't come into that context without an economic vision. If we think that we're just going to come and preach on Sunday and do great small groups, and that's going to change the community, then we're desperately mistaken. We need to come in with a vision for commerce, all undergirded by the gospel.